all funny, what I call funny stuff. No, I mean, adventure doesn't interest to anybody anymore, at least, you know, in the newspapers. I'm glad that still there are people like you guys who are interested in comics, and a guy who talks funny like me, you know. And you got any questions for me? Come on, guys.
So really quick, I'm Gabe.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Sorry I'm running late. I had to run from one interview to come down and moderate the panel. So I actually have a couple of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
And while I'm coming up with questions, you guys think of questions, because that's the best. So first I gotta make my notes so I can see them. So you have had a very diverse career. Like you've drawn Disney stuff, and you've drawn comic books, superheroes, you've drawn all sorts of things.
I like to say I read almost everything. I would like to do $100 bids, very, very hard to get a good paper to do that, you know. But it's true, you know. Since I came to the States, I did everything. Little Lulu, covers of Little Lulu, you know, whatever, you know. I need to work. Remember, I was an immigrant, you know. So, you can do that? Yes, I can do that. You know, I did everything. It's true.
So what I was really interested in, you had said, you know, you prefer Batman over Wonder Woman, but what are some of the like cartoony things that you really enjoyed drawing?
Well, I tried, somebody offered me a Western to do cowboys. I like to do cowboys, I like to draw horses. I remember my first comic book here in the United States was Billy the Kid. Unfortunately, I had to work very fast, but in those days the payment was very lousy. No, I need to do many pages a day to make a living. But after that, you know, when I was working for Gold Key, they gave me the chance to do Long Range. I did my version of that, you know, the old Long Range, you know, the one with the Indian with the bird on the head, you know. The normal one, the regular guy. I did that, you know, for several months, I think. And then they canceled the book, you know, cowboys, nobody likes cowboys anymore. In the country of cowboys, the cowboys are no good. And I enjoyed that. Well, I did many things I don't remember. You know, when the people came to my table to sign, just a gentleman that came a few minutes ago with Dr. Solar. I found out that Dr. Solar, I did so Dr. Solar probably the second year or third year in the United States, 1970. Wow. And it was amazing, you know. In those days, they don't give you credit. They don't allow you to sign, to not to the right and not to the artist, to nobody. You know, I remember I used to sneak my name in little places, and you know that later I can find it, you know. And I was looking for that in that book. I forgot to put it in that book. In that book I did a cover, and I did the whole book, pencils and inks, you know. And it was a surprise that somebody collects, you know, those old books, you know.
When you're being, you know, asked to sign books that, you know, maybe you don't even remember doing, what does it make you think about, like, the way the comic book industry is now, where everybody's name is front and center on the comic books?
Well, I know the comic book industry changed a lot, you know. Since I came to the United States, I was happy for in my case to give the chance to do the comic. But I started working with Chapman. Then I went to working into, you know, Dell Comics. And I remember in Dell Comics, nobody can kill people in one panel. You will have a head, boom, shooting, and the other panel, the guy goes. But they don't allow to do in those days. I remember one day I did, you know, I started to try to do something different because it was 6 pounds or 5 pounds. One day I went crazy. I did a diagonal pound. No way, Jose. No diagonal pound. I did a card showing only from the head. No way, you know. You know, the thing was changing. Now, from there, Joe Orlando called me to start working for DC Comics, but that was the opposite. You know, in DC, That was a different thing, you know. You know, I got to compete with amateurs like Neil Adams and things like that, you know. And then I have to do that. And then that was good because it allowed me to think and to use my brains, you know, to do the pages. I don't know if I did it well or not, but I tried. And then went on, you know. After that, you know, after many years in DC, I think I did everything except the flash. One day, Paul Levitz asked me, Jose, we're thinking to give you the flash. He says, no, why? Because I hate to do flashes, those little things, the running thing. And that was the reason. And the other reason, because they went to movie from Wonder Woman to the Flash. And then I said, no. Okay, keep doing the Wonder Woman. And from there, you know, I have nothing else to do in DC. I did everything, almost everything. I did Supergirl, Batgirl, you know, Superman, Wonder Woman. Then the only option was Marvel. Then I moved to Marvel. And Marvel, I think the first assignment was the Thundercats. I did the Thundercats. I enjoyed that. That book was a lot of fun. And in those days, the boss over there was Jim Shooter. Everybody was talking about Jim Shooter. Was a guy very hard to deal with. I didn't have any problem with him. He treated me very well. And from there, you know, then after that came Super Pro. You know, the football player became a superhero. And Brute Force, I think. And that's it. I don't remember anything else from whatever. Transformers. I forgot about Transformers. Yeah, Transformers was the main book. You know, I lost a lot of time until they decided to cancel the book and bye-bye Jose. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had one more, and then I'll let you guys ask questions. As an immigrant to the United States,
yes.
Do you feel that that informed the way you approached comic books?
Well, no, because let me tell you one thing. When I was in Argentina, where I was born, I was a little kid. I used to read and buy, of course, in Spanish, the American characters, you know. They used to print over there, you know, Batman, Superman, you know, Wonder Woman. I met Wonder Woman here. But, you know, Argentina is a macho country. You know, you don't have female superheroes. Batman, Superman, well, mostly of DC Comics. And I mean, I was familiar with it. One of my dreams was, you know, try to come to the United States to do the comics here, you know. And that was lucky.
Do you guys have some questions?
Yes, loud.
Were you drawing comics in Argentina before coming to the United States?
Were you drawing comic books or drawing comic book characters in Argentina before you came to the United States?
No. In Argentina was all the writers. In Argentina used to do, you know, everybody in the world liked the cowboys, except in the United States. I don't know that, but I used to do cowboys over there. You know, that's what I like to do horses. I did a lot of horses. Thanks God, when I came here, you know, they offered me Billy the Kid. I took it. Even if the payment was lousy, I took it because I got a chance to, you know, that would open, that would give me a chance to enter in the market, and then the horses. And, you know, the Argentine comic was influenced. I think everybody was influenced by American comics, you know, including the European comic. We changed their own style, less action like in the United States. I remember somebody asked me one day, what's the difference on the American comic, the Argentinian comic, European comic? And then I used to use a sample. It says, European comic, Argentinian comic. The telephone rings. The guy walks to the telephone, says, hello, how are you? What a fine. The American comic, telephone rings, the guy jumps on the wall, comes down, the other wall, comes down, then they say, hello, how are you?
When you were living in Argentina, did you
Yes.
have a lot of access to European comic books as well as American comic books?
Yes, because there are several stores, I don't know, bookstores. They used to sell foreign magazines. I used to get the American magazines and mostly European, British magazines. From there, you know, I got familiar with the whole idea of the American comics. And then that was my trying to read in English and be interested in the language. And then I took classes of English. I still have a lot to learn. You know, I know I talk funny, but yeah, I used to have access to the American comics and English comics mostly.
What else do you guys have?
Okay, the party's over.
In all your years drawing Wonder Woman, are there certain qualities or ways of drawing her that you think are essential to the character? Like certain ways she needs to be
I don't
drawn?
understand the meaning of the question.
So I think he's asking, is there like a visual like aesthetic to Wonder Woman that you think is like essential? Like, are there things that you can't change about Wonder Woman?
Well, I remember that my first intention, you know, like I said, I never was familiar with Wonder Woman before. When they offered me Wonder Woman, you know, of course, it was a chance to do a big character. You know, wasn't as big as Batman, you know, and Superman, but it was a big character. I took it. It was a challenge also to do nice-looking girls. I like to do that guy, that thing. And then I never look at the old Wonder Woman because for me it looks funny. And then I thought she has to be beautiful. And she has to have a good body, an athletic body. And she has to be sexy. That's what I try to do with the character. You know, the Wonder Woman, you know, has to be sexy, has to be powerful, and that was my idea of Wonder Woman.
When you're approaching like drawing something that's so different, like you know saying you're not familiar with Wonder Woman, were there things that you relied on visually, like other art that
No,
you?
what I would look if somebody offered me to do something I never did. Of course, I would look for references. If somebody offered me to do something, you know, I will look what some of the artists do it because I will try to follow the idea of the character the best I can. I don't mean copy the guys, but to get the feeling of the character, and you know, and that's what I was trying to do when I was doing the little pictures in the business. Then you know, and I reached a point and I says, Jose, you cannot work 15, 16 hours a day anymore. And then it's that, you know, says, okay, let's go to retirement and enjoy, you know, what you did and go to conventions. That's what I'm doing now.
When you say that the older versions of Wonder Woman were funny looking to you, what was it about them that was so funny?
Well, I just, you know, somebody asked me to do Wonder Woman today with a skirt. You know, the old Wonder Woman, you know, with the brassiere, with the ego and there, you know, and the skirt. But they look funny to me because I started doing Wonder Woman, the regular Wonder Woman. I just, okay. In the time they created, I think probably the old lady was a you know, they did that day with the half naked, you know. But for today comics, she looks, you know, she looks funny.
That's awesome. I never think of it that way because it's just like a difference between a classic Wonder Woman and a modern Wonder Woman. But yeah, I guess it would have probably been because, yeah, probably because old women thought it was horrible. You guys have to have questions. More questions. Go for it.
Loud.
Who did you prefer working for, Marvel or DC?
Who did you prefer working with, Marvel or DC?
Well, listen, in DC, I got a long, long career in DC. When I went to Marvel, I was under the be careful. Jim Shooter is the boss over there. The guy is terrible, eat the people alive. Well, I was lucky. I never had any problem with him. He was a gentleman all the time. And for me, it was some kind of how you say, a challenge. I've been using, I used to do Wonder Woman, all the characters. I feel familiar. That then I have to do something new. When it came to Thundercats was something in between, realistic and funny. Halfway. And then it says, well, that was something new. I need to get used to the whole thing, and that's the ground. Then came Super Pro. Super Pro is Superman with a football uniform, with a helmet, and that's it. I enjoy a chapter of Super Pro, was a soccer game, and that gave me the chance to go to the old photos of soccer players and positions. And then when I need to look for reference. The only thing I in my career, I try to be honest. I always look for references. I hate when, some artists in the old times, they had to do a German officer who's supposed to have a Luger. The guy has a coat or something funny in the hand. Now, maybe that German officer wants to use a cord, but, I always, like when I did the war stories, a German tank, a Panzer is different than the Tiger than the other one, and I was looking for, always references. When I was teaching I was teaching geography at school. That was one of my first things, to my students. Be honest, look for references, don't invent, don't create planes. If you need a Stuka plane, look for a picture on the Stuka, or a German tank, look for a picture. It's important that the people read comic book. So many people learn to read and to visualize a comic book. The first thing to do is a comic book. It's good to give you real information, real thing, no just what is not right, because what you do something is not right about references. The people take a long time to get the real thing. It's good from the beginning to know the real thing.
So talking about like references, going from the transition of superheroes, which obviously the references are just people, and Thundercats, where the references are like people but with like cat ears.
Yes.
What was it? That's true. Yeah. What was it like transitioning to something like Transformers, where you're creating robots plus vehicles? One of my principles in my life is never say no to a job. And that was a challenge. I like it, The only problem is I got an issue that I got all the robots fighting each other. The bad ones and the good ones were like a 50 different robots. That drove me crazy with that, But I like the challenge. It was something really, something rude. The people don't look like people anymore. Now they're machines. It was something new for me, and that's what I took it. Was there ever a moment where you thought to yourself, in any job, like, this is the one I should have said no to?
No, really, no. I never had a problem like that, no.
Great.
Yes.
Was there a book or character that you never got the opportunity to work on that you wish you had?
What?
Was there ever a character that you wanted to work on that you never had the opportunity to work on?
That's a good question. I got several now. Very hard to choose one. And because I was lucky. I was offered to do real main characters, and then that was enough for me. But really, I don't really think that it's a character that I would like to do. I never had a chance to do it. No, I did mostly of the main characters, you know.
When you're, oh,
Yes.
go ahead.
I think when the Wonder Woman series came on TV, they switched the comic to the 1940s Wonder Woman, and then when season 2 came on, they brought it to the 70s, and so they moved the comic back to the 70s. What was that like?
Well, you know, I don't really remember the transition. You know, I was doing comic books, suddenly, you know, starts to appear, you know, they never asked me to draw, you know, the Wonder Woman like Linda Carter. But the important thing is during that time, you know, they moved Wonder Woman for the Zim Kaput, for the imaginary adversaries, to real adversaries, you know, with the Second War. And like I said, that I love it because they give me I'm crazy for reference, you know, and I love it because they give me the chance to do real thing. I remember I did, you know, a page with an important panel. You know, one of the enemies of Wonder Woman was in the bunker. You know, and then, you know, I went crazy. I decided to do a lot of background. I put on the background a big picture of Hitler, you know, German flags, Nazi flags, all that kind of thing. When I saw the thing published, the ink eliminated, it killed everything in there, you know. And that's the part that was frustration for in my case, because, you know, not in my case, and many of the guys who do pencils is the inker doesn't respect the work, and it gets rid of backgrounds or rid of detail just to be fast, because they had to meet deadlines, and that hurts, you know, because I was a guy who really took seriously what I was doing. Like I said, I like references. I don't like to lie to the kids or the people who read comic books, because it's no good.
When you have the opportunity to see movies that feature characters that you have been so influential in, like molding and shaping what they look like and how they appear.
Well, it took me a long time until my daughter convinced me to go to see it, to see the first movie of the new Wonder Woman. I hate it. Not the movie, because for me Wonder Woman is the character that I work with, you know. I know it's an American character. They did the Wonder Woman they're supposed to be because they live in a Greek island, and she looked like a Greek warrior. Doesn't look like an American warrior anymore. I like my Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman that I did. But finally, the movie is a good movie. I don't like the character. No, I like more the Wonder Woman, Linda Carter's Wonder Woman.
Now I'm kind of blanking on the question.
No pressure.
How much creative influence were you allowed on the characters? I know back in the older days it tended to be, the writer would do a
depends,
lot of
you know.
it.
I mean, what I can do in the character. You know, I remember when I was doing Wonder Woman, I got called by Janet Kane, who was the big boss in DC long time ago, and she called me and says, "Jose, I think you're doing the breast of Wonder Woman a little too big." Well, what can I say? She was a lady, you know, and I says, okay, then I need to turn down the Wonder Woman. It looked like I was doing sexier and sexier every time that I was drawing it. I don't know if I was mind sick or whatever, but that's one of the problems when sometimes, you know, drawing you got exaggeration.
I think there was a question over there.
Yes.
Earlier you had mentioned that a lot of kids learn English by looking at comics. I was wondering how you learned English. Did you learn it when you were in, or before you came to the U.S.?
So you had mentioned that a lot of kids and a lot of people learn how to read or how to speak English from comic books. He's asking, did you use comic books to learn English too?
And?
What's that?
And then what he wants to know that?
Yeah, did you learn
Yes,
English
no,
from comics?
no. Yes, of course, you know, if I was planning to come to the United States, in my case, I was trying to read American comic books, not only mostly American, mostly British comic book. I used to print, you know, British comic book in the size of a newspaper, you know. Real good print, real good characters, and, you know, and real story like The Charge of Library Gate, something like that. That also, you know, give me the opportunity to appreciate the different uniforms, because, you know, like I say, I'm crazy for references. The different uniforms, I gotta collect now with the computer, everything. And I remember my mother used to complain to me when I was living in my father's home that I used to collect everything. In those days, before the computer, before the thing, you know, you collect the papers. When I moved to the United States, from Argentina to the United States, I had to throw away everything, you know, kind of all those references to the United States. But I started collecting references in here until the computer. Now, one day, I said to the paper all the little things, you know, the little book, bye-bye, and then I open to the computer. Then it's easy. Boom, boom, boom. Go to the computer, you got everything. But it's different. When you see the art going by another guy, you know, you enjoy it. The computer is a machine. When I see pictures that Neil Adams did many years ago, I still enjoy, you know, what he was doing. And that's the difference.
It's interesting. What do you think it is about computers versus physical reference that you enjoy the physical reference so much more?
Like I said, the physical references, I enjoy the different ways an artist would try the character. You know, you got Tarzan, and you got Tarzan done by different artists. You will see something different in each picture, because the personality or the vision of the character is different in each artist.
Was it interesting to take over somebody else's creation? You know, obviously you're taking it like as a job, but were there ever like moments where you're like, I wish I would have done this differently?
Yeah, I don't try. Don't try. There are certain things you cannot change. You know, like, you know, when I do Batman, my wife sometimes says, "You're doing the ears a little too long." You know, I remember Batman again. I think I start doing a little longer when I do pictures of Batman. But the characteristic still is the same character. You know, I don't try to change. Don't try to change anything. Yes.
Did you like drawing the invisible jet for Wonder Woman?
What?
Did you like drawing the invisible jet for Wonder Woman?
You know, when I was a Wonder Woman, that's a good question. There are certain things, you know, there are two things in Wonder Woman that I hate. One is the idiot Steve Trevor. I had to do it because Wonder Woman has to have a boyfriend, right? And the other thing was the invisible plane.
What was it about the invisible plane that was so frustrating?
Because it looked funny to me that you see that Wonder Woman said.
Oh, sorry. when you're approaching having to draw something that's just so silly like that, like how do you even approach that moment where you're like, I now have to draw Wonder Woman sitting in a chair that no one can see?
What? It's comics. Everything is possible in comics. And there are several things that I would like to change, but I cannot change the spirit of a character. I have to follow the idea. For me, it's stupid flying, especially now there's supposed to be a jet now. Can you imagine, you got a jet, when the woman sitting in there, with a helmet and the whole thing, just flying a jet who nobody sees.
Just a lady floating. When you see like references to like all of these comic books and like pop culture, whether it be in movies or TV, like how does it make you feel to know that you're such an important part of that?
Well, I never thought about that. I like to do the little picture and that's it.
Like, I guess for like I'm a giant comic book fan. Like I have like books that you've done that you've signed for me in the past and things like that. Like you are a very influential comic book artist.
Well, the only thing is when I started working in comics. The only thing is I try to be honest. Honest with the whole idea, and sometimes, I sit on the table, I read the script. I was ready to start crying, but I'm a professional, and I have to adapt my mind to what I was. No, I never did something that I feel is not correct. I remember some time ago, a company in New York that was a very, very good company called me with a good magazine. I forgot the name of the magazine. They called me to do an illustration. I said, oh, boy, that's good. That's real now. I will get a real good pay. They gave me the idea. I'm sorry, ladies, what I would say, but I was, I had to do a girl masturbating with a Coca-Cola bottle. Then I went to the guys and said, listen, the money was incredible. I went to the guys and said, listen, I got a daughter who is 12 or 13 years old. I cannot do this. I don't care the money you are offering me. I cannot do this. I didn't do it. Because, I feel that that's not correct. When the magazine called me, the magazine was doing a lot of things, not just pornography. But it took me to do a thing like that. There's no way, Jose. That way that works fine. No way, Jose.
Was that a Coca-Cola ad?
Sorry. that one got me, man. That was a good one.
No.
Go ahead.
Speaking of scripts, is there a particular script that would jump out at you for Batman that you would say, that's probably one of my favorite stories that I got to tell visually?
What was, looking back, what's one of your favorite Batmans that you got to illustrate?
Well, I don't really, it's very hard to choose one, I did mostly Batman with Superman and World Finance. I never did Batman by himself, was mostly working with Superman. But I remember I did a comic book where the main picture still got in my mind is Batman coming toward the reader, full shot of the body. And then in that time, somebody they did with kryptonite and something to Superman, and Batman was on the rescue of Superman. I remember that very well because I enjoyed that chapter very, very much. I don't remember what issue was that, but I remember doing that. I enjoyed that very much.
You have one?
Yeah. I was wondering if you didn't like the idea of Steve Trevor being with Wonder Woman because you don't like that character, or you don't like the idea of Wonder Woman having to have any boyfriend?
Did you just?
I can hear you, but I can't understand the idea.
So you said Steve Trevor's an idiot. Is it because he's an idiot, or is it because you want Wonder Woman to not be stuck with someone?
It's a girl that has to be there, you know. Society says a girl has to have a boyfriend, a real good guy, you know, honest, clean American character, you know. and you know, it seems like, you know, when you play cards, you got what card that you use it in case you need it. What do you call it? Comodine. What do you call that card? You know, a jack.
The joker.
Yeah. No. When you're playing, it's a card, and you know, and you can use it to replace another card.
A wild card.
Yeah. That was Steve Trevor from, you know, the comic book character, you know, and Wonder Woman.
He was just kind of
He needs to have a boyfriend, and then they choose Steve Trevor.
if you could pick one comic book character to be Wonder Woman's boyfriend, who would it have been?
That's a good. I never thought about it.
Would it maybe have been Jose?
No, should be a guy. Well, maybe you're right. Should be a guy. Cannot be another superhero because they will start fighting each other, you know, and that would be a real problem in the comic business. Imagine Superman fighting with Wonder Woman. Has to be. Maybe the question made me think about it. Maybe Steve Trevor was needed. You know, it's an idiot who was needed. You know?
Sorry, I don't know what years you were active, but did you work with the original creator of Wonder Woman? No.
Did you ever get the opportunity to work with the original creator of Wonder Woman?
No.
Did you know him at all?
No.
No?
I'm old, but not that old.
Just for reference, should we get dates that you, like a time span where you were working on with DC?
What was it? So loosely he would be considered a Bronze Age artist, but what were the years that you worked with DC?
Loosely.
No, it's okay. But let me think. I think when I left Gold King or Delbo, whatever was the name, because they changed name, and you know, and I was doing Turok for Gold King, and then Orlando called me, you know, and I don't really know how to answer that question. So
Go ahead.
Well, whenever you worked on a character, were you the only artist working on the character, or are there still multiple artists making the book come together?
At that point in the industry, like if they gave you Wonder Woman, would you have been the only penciler, or were they still working with a bullpen where maybe like you did
when I was doing Wonder Woman, I was doing Wonder Woman most of the time during the 7 years. I was doing the pencil, but they were changing the ink. You know, I enjoy great inkers, and sometimes I cry, you know, when I see the ink. Like I said, you know, eliminating things that I did because it was too much work, and you know, and you have to deliver the book and forget it. You know, Jose went crazy, boom, 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 everything disappears. But that really makes me mad. But no, I don't have any kind of problem in that situation. Yes.
Sir, I got it a little late, so you might have already answered this question. But do you prefer the way things used to be in the comic book industry, like when you were doing the novels and developing the stories, opposed to what they're doing today?
What?
He's wondering if you prefer the way comic books were created in the past over how comic books were created.
That's a good question. You know, maybe it sounds like I favor what the style or the kind of comic book I was working with. But I remember the time I was doing the comic book, coloring don't overpower the drawing. Coloring was a complement for the drawing. The computer is overpowering everything. I remember I used to open a book, I would say, boy, this is Joe Cuba. Oh, this is Neil Adam, or this is John Romero. Now I open the book, I need to look for references to see who is who, because the computer is a great equalizer. It's perfect. But I don't like perfection in comics. I like character. I like to see the line of a guy. You know, I enjoy very much to see Joe Cuba working. Joe Cuba would do, and use a writing pen to ink. You know, one of those they used to use on the, you know, the computer is an equalizer, makes everything look like. That's okay?
Yes. Today's industry uses the computers a great bit more. There was more individuality in those days.
He basically acknowledging that there was way more individuality in the old days, like than there is now.
Now you can see the art and the style of every different artist. You know, Neil Adam was different than Joe Cuba. Joe Cuba was different by Ron DeFalco, and you can see real the style. And the computer now makes everything look alike.
Like flat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character to draw and why?
My favorite character to draw?
Yeah. And why?
Well, again, I should say Wonder Woman. I really enjoy my first comic book, Billy the Kid. Was a Wednesday. I like to do cowboys. I like to do horses. I like to do cows. I like to do, you know, mountains on the background. I like to do sky. I like to do cactus, trees. I like to do that kind of thing, you know.
You like real things.
Yeah.
She said you
That's
like
what I like
real
to do.
things. You like real things. You like drawing real
Yeah.
things.
But the most thing is, I like to do cargo. When they offered me the Lone Ranger that I did it, you know, again, I got a chance to do the horses, you know. And then I was praying for the horse, you know, cargo comic book again. But you know, I know, probably the guy will be, you know, riding a rocket, the cowboy, you know, not a horse. I don't like it.
When you're approaching like the cowboy book, you know, the Western kind of style. Like I know that Argentina has like a whole history of its own cowboys. Is that kind of reflects that?
Yes, yes. Argentina is a big country with big temples, and you know, with horses, different horses. The Argentinian horses are more bigger, bulky horse. The American, the Mustang, you know, wasn't small and fast horse, you know. And sometimes, you know, when the rider is a big guy, looks like the horse is too small. The problem is, no, the horse is okay. The guy is too big.
When you look back, like over like such a very distinctive career, like what does it feel like to be able to come into rooms like this and meet people that have been?
When I come to a room like this, you know, I'm scared to death. Why? Because my hearing problems drives me crazy. You know, a good thing. You know, I don't have to listen to my wife. You know, I can fake it. You know, I says I can hear you. You know? That was a good excuse. But that's my problem. You know, I can hear very well what you guys are telling me. But I enjoy this kind of thing, even with that situation, you know. When I start seeing friendly people, I start getting loose. And then I start, you know, even if I talk funny, you know, that I try to move my brain to find the proper words, you know.
I don't know about you guys, but you don't talk funny at all.
Thank you.
I have cousins that sound worse, like by a long shot. When you know we're getting ready to wrap up,
yeah.
How would you like, you know, your legacy to be? Like, how would you like people to remember your work through the years?
Well, like I wasn't, you know, like I was an honest guy. What I was doing was honest, you know, that, like I said, being always, I try to be, you know, use the references to be real. That's the way I like that people remember me. I don't care that if they think, you know, I'm a master or you know, I'm a great artist. I you know, what I like to remember that I was honest what I was doing. I try to do my best, you know. Sometimes, even if the script is a lousy script, you know, you have to enjoy what you're doing. And then the only way to do is feel like, you know, like I used to say to my students in Joe Cuba School, in cartoonist, is a movie director. He visualized the shot, you know, it's a movie. The only thing is, it's a little picture, but you have to think about a movie. The camera moves up, down, you know, silhouettes, foreground close to the eye, close to the lip, you know, those things I used to try to communicate to my students in Joe Cuba School. Today, in these days, when I go to a convention, a guy will approach me, he says, Jose, do you remember me? No, I'm sorry. I wasn't a student in Joe Cuba School. He says, listen, guy, you were a teenager. I was the same guy, ugly guy, just younger. That's why you recognize me. For me, you know, recognize you. Now you are a man. When you came to the school, you were a kid. And then some of the kids of the school, not only for me, because they got Joe Cuba teaching, there are several good teachers, but I was part of that training. When the guys came to me and they thanked me, they thank you for helping me to be when I'm here now today. That makes me feel very proud and very big.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I have a ton of respect for you and your art. I love a lot of the books that you've created over the years.
Thank you.
We only have a couple minutes, so if you have any last questions, you want to sneak one in? All right, last one.
Is there a character you ever got to create or help create that you're very proud of?
If I had a character that I helped create, not here in the United States. In South America, yes. I work also in Brazil. I create a character, but when I left Brazil, somebody continued it. And guess what he was, that character? The name of the character was Colorado. It was a cowboy.
Well, thank you so much for your time, everybody. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, let's go to the drawing table.